Good afternoon, everybody. Assad, thank you very much for that very generous introduction. It has been several years, in fact, probably over a decade since we took that trip to that deposition. I probably have some additional feedback for you after the lunch, so let's make sure we connect. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be here with you all on such a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. And as I look out over this room, I see so many old friends, former colleagues, and people who inspire me each and every day in the work that I do. As Assad mentioned, my work today generally focuses on the topic of cryptocurrency and regulation. There is certainly no shortage of fun subject matter to discuss in that realm. But given why we're here and what we're here to really celebrate, I actually want to focus on a different area of my work, and something I'm as or even more proud of as anything that I do in my day job. Before I turn to that, I want to offer my appreciation, and on this point, I suspect that I'm speaking on behalf of everybody here today. The Legal Aid Society really does fill a very, very important role in the legal life of San Mateo County. And I think it should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that the work of the Society and its volunteers, its staff attorneys, the board of directors, on behalf of the most important constituency, of course, which are the clients, is something that we all should take a great deal of pride in as lawyers who practice in this legal community and who enjoy the privilege of representing the justice system in so many different capacities. I have had the privilege and pleasure of practicing law in San Mateo County in different forms over many years of my career, in Redwood City, in Menlo Park, and even about 30 yards from where I'm standing right now, 3 floors up. And I have to say that over the course of that career practicing law in this county, along with many others, I have been so impressed and so grateful for the work of the Legal Aid Society and so many people who make it happen on behalf of our neighbors, others who live in our community who don't enjoy the privileges and professional opportunities that so many of us do. Well, I want to turn to my main topic at hand today, which was a topic inspired by a conversation I recently had halfway around the world in a European capital, where my main purpose in visiting was to talk about the state of regulation and policy as it applies to digital assets, cryptocurrency, big tech in general. Now, when I walked into this very ornate ministry of the government to lay out the case for why we thought sensible rules could and should be adopted in this particular country, I expected lots and lots of questions about how blockchains work, what lessons we can learn from the regulatory experiences of big tech companies, such as Facebook and others, and all of that. And so when I sat down to make my case for the sensible regulation that we thought could be achieved, I was a bit surprised when the minister sitting across the table from me shook my hand, invited me to have a seat, and then promptly gave me a bit of a speech. Now, with so many lawyers here in the room, I suspect you all can appreciate that when a government minister begins to give you a speech, things don't usually turn out so well. And so I held my breath, as did many of my colleagues with me that day, and leaned in to what he wanted to say. And what he wanted to say to me was this. He said, "Mr. Grewall, I understand you've practiced law now for over 2 decades in the United States. I understand that at an earlier point in your career, you tried cases in the courtrooms of the United States, and in between that earlier experience and your current role, you served as a United States magistrate judge in the courts of California, the federal courts of California. And of course, I was struck by his impressive recitation of my biography. course, when I leaned over and looked at his dossier, I saw that his astute staff, of course, prepared an entire printout of my LinkedIn profile. So it wasn't quite as impressive as maybe I'd hoped. But what he proceeded to then want to talk to me about were the three things that have always impressed him more than anything else about the judicial system and the system of justice more generally that we have here in the United States. The first thing he observed was that unlike just about any other country on earth, here in the United States, we enjoy life under a constitution that actually has real meaning on a daily basis. A constitution that actually protects individual rights and that serves a meaningful role in the daily lives of our country's citizens and others. So he complimented me on that rare achievement that the United States had managed to achieve, with all of its flaws, with all of its shortcomings, with all of its challenges that we all know, and highlighted the fact that unlike just about every other country in the world, the Constitution in our country still actually means something. So that was one thing that he complimented. The second thing he complimented me on, and by the way, I was still waiting for him to talk about cryptocurrency technology, but the second thing that he complimented me on was the unique role and independence of the judiciary in the United States. The fact that whether at the state court level or at the federal level, judges exercise independent authority and are viewed as having an independent responsibility for protecting those rights that are guaranteed under our Constitution. And of course, he's right about that. Of course, many other countries, many other systems enjoy a free judiciary, but the United States remains somewhat unique in the role that judges play in protecting the rights that are granted under our Constitution and under our system of laws. So he made that point. Well, that brought us to point number 3 that he was eager to share with me before we got to the business at hand. He said to me, Mr. Grewall, I don't know very much about your system, but I have a particular interest in how legal services are provided to your poor and to those disadvantaged in your system. Because it appears as a student of the U.S. system from the outside, sitting here in this particular capital, that only the United States has as robust a system of legal aid as it appears to be, that is supported by volunteer efforts of attorneys, funding largely from the private sector in addition to the public sector, all on behalf of people who need help and can't afford it from any other place. He said, your system of legal aid is really the envy of the world. And as I'm taking all this in, I'm thinking to myself, first, are we ever going to get to the discussion of cryptocurrency and technology? Because I do have some business at hand I need to attend to. But second, and most importantly, how proud I am. How proud I am, not just as an American, but as an American lawyer, to play some small part in that system, which has obviously captured this particular minister's attention, but many others all over the world who look at the United States, who understand its flaws, who understand its shortcomings, and yet understand more than anything else that legal aid really is at the core of what makes our system work. And so let me underscore the appeal that was made a few minutes ago for financial support for the society today. Let me encourage all of you to make whatever small or not so small contribution you can to support the great work of the Legal Aid Society of San Mateo County and all that it does. And let me also, if I may indulge for just one more minute, in something else that struck me as I was thinking about what the minister had to share with me on that one particular day. And we talk a lot about the independence of the judiciary in our country. And we tend to focus on political squabbling and processes for appointments and all sorts of things that I think lose sight of why we have an independent judiciary. And this is something that I've been thinking a lot more about in my other capacity, one of my other capacities, day to day in my current life, which is helping the governor to vet candidates for appointment to our state courts. Assad was kind enough to mention that I serve on Governor Newsom's Judicial Screening Committee. And one of the things I've been thinking a lot more about in that capacity is I meet with people from across our legal community here in Northern California and people outside of our legal community as I vet candidates and as I try to assess whether a particular candidate would be a suitable and hopefully strong judge if and when appointed. One of the things I've been thinking a lot more about is, yes, of course, we focus on qualifications and credentials. Yes, of course, we focus on impressive accomplishments in the courtroom and elsewhere. One of the things I've been trying to focus on much more, however imperfectly, when I meet with opposing counsel, when I talk to judges before whom a particular candidate has appeared, I try to focus on just a little bit. How well will this person relate to all of the people who appear in our courts who don't have counsel, who have to appear pro se or pro per, who won't be able to find their way to a legal aid society or some other source of representation in their moment of need? Because one of the things I experienced in my tenure on the bench was that more often than not, apart from the cases that make headlines, apart from the trials that garner the legal community's attention, are the cases where somebody shows up at the courthouse and they're looking for help. Maybe they've been able to cobble together a complaint. Maybe they once had a lawyer and that lawyer has abandoned them. And I'm trying to ask myself now more and more, are the people who we appoint as judges, in addition to their intellectual capacity, in addition to their ability to work through prodigious dockets, are they able to sit on that bench and connect with people before them who aren't represented, who don't have a lawyer, and who need their help? I think it's really, really important, because as amazing as the work of this society is, as amazing as the work of the Law Foundation of Silicon Valley, which Assad also mentioned, I play some small part in, as amazing as all of our legal aid societies are across this country, so much so that they garner the praise of ministers sitting in foreign capitals, too many people who end up in court don't have a lawyer at all. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us, in whatever capacity we play in our system, to think about how are those people being treated? What kind of system of justice are they enjoying? And what more can we do to make sure that there are fewer and fewer of them and more of them that have counsel, thanks to the great work of organizations like this one. So with that, I will say thank you for this great honor to be able to address you at this beautiful lunch. Thank you again to this incredible organization for its great work. Congratulations to our award winners, and best wishes to all of you for a great rest of your lunch and a great rest of your day. Thank you.